Shall I start, Carl? I see we have 14 participants. Do you want to give it a couple of more minutes? I think to honor the rest of the guys that were all on time, let's keep your time in check, and I think let's commence the session. Are you in agreement, Carl? Can I commence? Okay. I think Carl is just tending to something else quickly. All right. Good morning, everybody. This morning, I'll be facilitating your session. I just want to make sure you can see my screen. Okay. I'm going to ask you guys to just indicate that you can hear me. And thank you so much. Good. Yes. Carl, it's that you commenting? Not Carl, okay. Okay, let me start. So good morning. My name is Joylyn, and I'll be facilitating your session, Module 4, Strategic Alignment and Performance Management for Business Optimization. I just want to see, I can't see my notes. So guys, I've got some notes on the side that I am just put there for myself, but you are welcome to anything in the notes, any comments, or if you need them. Right, there we go. Okay. So a very nice introduction this morning. The key to successful leadership today is influence and not authority, and this is said by Ken Blanchard. So let's elaborate on that. Traditionally, leadership was associated with authority based on the position an individual was employed in. In today's dynamic business environment, influence plays a pivotal role in successful leadership. Why do you think that is the case? Anyone from the group want to share perhaps, or give your insight? And you're welcome to just open the mic and share freely. No one want to share today? Guys, this is an open session. You are very welcome to speak freely. So this is because influence is about inspiring. It's about motivating and guiding others. So a good leader is someone that will inspire you, the acts will influence you, and you will be motivated by what these people do. So that is the difference in having a leader that influences versus a leader that has authority. So let's touch quickly our agenda for today. We will be discussing the following: how to align a manager's personal objectives and skills to those of the business organization, how to best apply business performance management practices, and lastly, how to design stock policies and logistics services for small to medium enterprises. So module 4.1 will cover the following: why we need to align personal and business objectives, what are the benefits of an individual and the business, how do we define business goals, identify personal objectives, and align your personal objectives with business goals. We will also be covering the tools that are most effective for skills assessment, and then we'll discuss the importance of understanding your personal strengths and weaknesses and those of the organization you work in. Why is it crucial to develop strategies that are practical for alignment and the benefits of alignment for both managers and the organization? Can anybody tell me why it's important for us to have business goals? Anyone from the team, you're welcome to just open your mics, share if you would like to share.
Good morning. I'm sure it's because it depends on the success of your business. So if you don't have any goals, then why do you have a business?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Anybody else want to share? Anybody have a different view? Okay. Let's look at defining business goals. So business goals are developed and is used by organizations to support them. Yes.
I think we had a hand.
Sorry, Carl, I can't see everybody's hands.
Okay.
Please feel
So
please.
maybe just speak, if you want to share.
Okay, yes, yeah, no, they can speak freely and also ask questions freely.
To know where the business is going.
Yes, thank you so much for that. That's very true. Thank you. If you share, please will you give me your name as well so that I know who I'm speaking to. That will help me a lot.
My name is Johannes Marco.
Thank you, Johannes. I appreciate your comment. Right, so let's look at defining business goals. So we know business goals are developed and used by organizations to support and drive strategic initiatives. These are such as sales targets, increased market share, and ultimately to grow your business. My personal background is from the media industry. I worked for the South African Broadcasting Corporation for many years, and I was privileged to be part of the sales team. And our entire strategic development and directives was to drive sales, to increase our business, and find opportunities to have higher or larger competitive advancement. So each and every business and each every industry will have significant goals that they would require to implement in an organization, and those are normally aligned to the sector or the industry that their business will operate in. So let's look at a manager's personal objectives. So personal objectives are set by an individual that's aimed to achieve professional career goals that will further develop their career. These objectives will also align to the organization's goals. And can someone give me an example of manager's personal goals, your personal goals, or someone's personal goals that you're aware of? And you don't have to put your hand up, you can just speak freely. Anybody want to try? Just share their personal goal?
Career development.
Yes.
Thank you,
Tabang.
And also work-life balance.
Absolutely. So we are we're fortunate we have some tools that can assist us in developing personal objectives. And one of the tools in our material that is shared is the SMART acronym.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is Jonathan Baloy. I wanna answer the first one about the business goals is also to identify the risk and also to have team management. So the personal goals is time management.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
that is correct. So let's talk around how we can develop our personal goals. So we're looking at SMART goals, and that is specifically aligned to thinking how we should build our goal. Our goal should be specific, it should be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So all of those elements we need to incorporate when we develop our personal goals. Those personal goals we will then align with the organizational business goal. And it's important for us to self-reflect on our career and the aspirations we have for ourselves in our career when we look at building our SMART goals. So I'm going to take you through the SMART goals. Okay, so this is how we would set our goals. This is what these acronyms stand for. So specific would be to make a goal clear and specific. Can someone give me an example of if you develop your goal, how would you ensure that that is specific? Thank you.
What exactly do I want to accomplish with this specific goal?
Thank you. That is correct. And how would I make my goal measurable? Anyone from the team? So we made to make it, yes?
Do you say how much or how many items are required to make the specific goal to be achieved?
Correct. What will you measure that? What will you measure your goal against? Attainable? What does it mean to make something attainable, a goal attainable to your personal objective?
I think it is to make sure that you are able to reach it.
Absolutely.
To reach your goals. So when you set yourself some goals, you have to be able to measure it against something and actually reach your end goal.
Correct. Thank you so much. So we always need to be realistic when we set our goals to make sure that we don't set something that is outside of our physical reach to reach. How would we make a goal relevant?
learning new
I
skills.
guess
So if I say that goal needs to be relevant to my current work environment and to my personal career aspirations, if I am a project manager and I want to develop new project skills, I would need to look at what is new and relevant in that industry, and how is that relevant in the job specific requirement where I'm employed. So that is how I will bring that closer to my career goal, but also closer to what I need to deliver in the workspace. And then we're looking at time-based, and time-based really tells us that we need to set goals that we are able to link to a specific time period. So time-based is it's easier for us to think around, but also for us to be realistic around. So how do we assess our own skills? Anybody want to just share with me? What's your perception? How would you assess your own skills? What do you think is most relevant?
Self-reflection, that's something that I can think of now.
Yes.
We also have the SWOT analysis, I think.
That is good, yes.
How about
So
a checklist for your skills that you possess now?
that's a great idea, yes.
Jolene, I
So
was gonna say performance indicators. So if you have a role, you know exactly what it is that needs to be achieved. So then you set your skill set to what the goals are. And then you have performance indicators.
brilliant. That is well said. Thank you. Yes. I just want to say, we don't always see our own shortcomings. So it's very important to gather information from our peers, from managers that we work with, even managers that we don't report to. Sometimes when we work in an environment, someone is able to see a shortcoming, whether it's presentation skills or whether it is developing a report. There are always feedback available out there for us to develop. And it's not always, it's good to get critical feedback from our peers and managers and even from our clients. As a marketing individual, a lot of my feedback I received on development really came from my clients and not always from my colleagues. And then when we do self-assessment, there are a couple of self-assessment questionnaires, but make that very relevant to the environment that you are in. Understanding, educate yourself on what type of training is out there to develop your skills. Where do you see yourself in that process? Where do you sit? Do you think you're 50% there, 20% there? What would you put in place to look at how you can enhance your current skills? And it's not always with training. It could be just building up your knowledge base, attending webinars, connecting with people on LinkedIn, understanding what's happening in a specific industry. So look, when you are doing self-assessment, incorporate all of those little nuances in developing your personal skills. And as mentioned earlier, thank you for that. Performance reviews are very important because here we can see what is the expectation of our role in the organization that we are in, and how are we faring against the specifics that we need to achieve. So it will assist us in identifying our strengths, our weaknesses, and also understanding our shortcomings. And this information is the base and will also help us to design personal development plans that will ensure that we align with the organization's needs. I'm not going to ask this question because we've covered that. You guys are very helpful in taking us through the session, and I thank you very much for everybody's input and feedback. I really enjoy having a team that contribute. Some more skills assessment. Benefits, identifying our strengths and weaknesses. We've covered this. It helps us in personal development planning. I think each and every one of us want to enhance our careers, and we should have development plans that cover a 1 year, a 6 month, a 5 year plan, because it takes time to develop your career. It doesn't happen overnight. So it's very important to make sure that the information that you put in, or the insights that you have about developing your career, is relevant, and also always make sure that you review your development plan regularly, because as we know, with technology, industries change so quickly, and training and skills adjust so quickly. So we always need to be aware of what is out on training. We always need to be aware what is new in the industry, to make sure that we adjust our development plans. And then most importantly, ensuring that what we are putting together for ourselves in the development process is aligned with what the business asks us to achieve. So how do we align our objectives to our skill sets? There's a couple of strategies. So regular goal settings, and as I said earlier on, always review your plan, make sure that it is still aligned with what you want to achieve. Continuous learning and development. You can never ever stop learning, and you can never stop developing your skills. We live in an environment, in a world that changes overnight. So this is so important to always set yourself, always create opportunities for you to learn more, to be part of programs, to be part of task teams, to uplift your skills. Feedback and mentoring. Who in this team has a mentor that you look up to and that you're getting support from? Anybody want to share if they have a mentor?
I actually have a mentor. It's Carl. Yes.
Oh,
This.
okay.
Yeah, he's very good with. I learn a lot from him actually. Everything that I'm doing, so I learn from him.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank
It's very
you.
good to have a mentor. I think each and every one of us, doesn't matter what your age is. I also have a mentor at my age, and I'm in my early 50s. I still look up to people to learn from them, and to engage with people to see how they've developed, how what they've put in place, and what they can teach us. We can always learn from other people, and Carl is just one of those people you want to learn from him. He's engaging, and he loves to share, and he doesn't mind to spend time with people. So select people that want and are willing to engage with you, and share a time with you, and information and skill sets. Very important to have a mentor, doesn't matter what your age is. So the benefits of aligning our skills is to enhance our job performance. Ultimately, we want to do better where we work, and to increase our job satisfaction, and to better the organization's outcomes. Ultimately, the organization is investing in you. You are part of the organization, and you want to be part of what is delivered successfully. Let's look at personal objectives to skills. Before I move on to this section, can I just ask, is there any questions on Module 4.1 and the content that we've covered? Are we all happy for us to move forward? Good. Okay, so personal objectives to skills. If you love what you're doing, you will feel motivated, you'll be more productive, and you'll feel fulfilled. This quote from Albert Schweitzer: success is not a key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you'll be successful. I think it's such an important quote, because you know, when you enjoy when you spend time doing something and you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. And it's very important for us to select and to know what we want to do with our lives, what we want to do with our careers. It's very important to enjoy what you are doing. So let's look at what Module 4.2 requires of us to cover. And I do apologize, I've got a little bit of a cough, so if I sound a little bit wheezy, I apologize. Module 4.2 will be covering the performance management practices and setting performance objectives. This module also covers the importance of developing key performance indicators, identifying tools to track and explain how they implement corrective action. So now we'll be looking at the business performance management practices. How do we manage and improve business performance? This is done by setting objectives, monitoring progress, and implementing activities that will assist addressing challenges. This is important as it will assist the organization in driving and increasing efficiencies, facilitate achievements of the strategic goals, and enhance competitive advantage. Here we can see we need to drive organizational efficiencies, facilitate strategic goal achievements, and enhance competitive advantage. I know that this is highlighted in your guidelines, and there's a lot of insight shared in your guidelines that you have on these specific elements. Defining performance objectives. How do we define performance objectives? An organization's performance objectives need to be clear, concise, and measurable. Who can give me an example of an organizational objective? Anybody? Don't want to take it. This is an open platform. Please, if you are welcome to speak freely. There's nothing that is incorrect when we share.
Mine is in my organization is student attainment. The organization wants to be on the top there. It used to be on the top, and then it went down, so it wants to go back to its original position.
So, did you mention that are you in a college, sir?
Yes, I'm in the college.
Okay. So it is gaining market share, and it is gaining more students, educating the market out there of what the offering of the college is. So that's all part of of the performance objective for the organization. So performance objectives will generally include revenue growth, where we set targets, improved efficiencies, increased customers. In your case, so it will be increasing your student base, customer satisfaction levels, increased market penetration that is specific to the area or the market that you operate in, and ultimately achieving product development milestones. So how do we measure and monitor if an organization is achieving success? Anybody want to share on what your thoughts on that? How would you measure if your organization is achieving success? Let me elaborate a little bit on that. So this can easily be done by using key performance indicators, a matrix that's designed to evaluate the success in achieving an objective. So there are some tools and techniques that can be used. Firstly, we have the BAL6 scorecard, and this is a strategic planning and management system, and it's used to align business activities to the vision and the strategy of the organization. Then we also have the performance dashboard. Does anybody have a performance dashboard in the organization that they're working in. So let me share, when I worked for the SABC, we worked on SAP, and that was used as our performance dashboard. We were able to, on real time, we were able to see our sales, the available stock to sell we refer to it as airtime. So we were able to see what was available. We were able to see what was sold, and also at what cost. So we could also see how we were tracking on specific targets. And based on that, we were able to continuously address and create opportunities to go out to the market. And we were always informed of what was currently happening internally in our sales environment.
The
I
example.
think from my side, sorry, Joy. From our side, in order for us to measure that the organization is becoming successful, is when we are, we are reaching that break-even point from our side in terms of the net income ratio. And we also looking at employee satisfaction and client retention. Then that tells us that we actually becoming successful in terms of meeting our targets and so forth.
Thank you. That's great said. Thank you, sir. So I think based on the industry or the sector that we operate in, I think for each and every organization, that elements will look slightly different. Earlier, I spoke to one of the college management team members, and I know for them they will have a different set of tools that they will be looking at to understand how successful they are. And I think some of those would be how many students you enroll, and how many students complete, the type of material that you're able to introduce into your college, and so forth. So I think it's so relevant to understand that we work in so many different sectors in business, and that it's very interesting to understand how each and every organization will need to look at different metrics to establish how they're performing against industry. Some more evaluation tools, reporting is the process of communicating information to a specific audience, and it involves presenting data in various formats such as text or grids, or charts, and depending who that information is to be shared to, that content or the report will have a specific format, and and information that's incorporated in that report will be aligned to what we need to evaluate. Then we're also looking at benchmarking, and benchmarking is comparing performance metrics to industry standards or best practices. Who has some insight on what is seen in their industry as benchmarking? Anybody want to take a shot at that? So benchmarking is when a best practice is a standard that is something that's developed within a sector, and it allows each and every company to compare their performance against what the set standard is in the industry. And it's always good for an organization to do that, to ensure that they don't fall behind or that they don't miss huge gaps that is not addressed in the strategies. And that will cause tremendous impact in progressing for an organization. If you are not able to benchmark, it is very difficult to understand if you are moving forward, if your strategies that you've developed and that you've implemented are successful. So we spoke a little bit about how we need to evaluate our strategies, and we see here some insights from a research piece that was done from Gartner in May 2021. And we can see that data-driven decisions rely on objective information. You need to have good information to make decisions with. And based on the feedback from this report, we can see that more than 70% of managers make decisions based on data. That's why it's very important to ensure that the data that you are working with is quality data, and it can actually inform you on making business decisions. So this is the importance of working with data, and that is why tools such as benchmarking and tools like scorecard and tracking your information internally is so important, because a lot of decisions will be based from a managerial perspective, will be based on the data that we work with. Also just want to say that data reveals patterns and trends that institutions alone might miss. And it's very important to understand what your data is that is available to you is telling you, and also to ensure that you have data that is accurate. So based on insights, as mentioned from this Gartner study, more than 70% of leaders and managers use data to make decisions. Let's look at key performance indicators. So we spoke a little bit, we elaborated on what we need to measure and evaluate our objectives and strategies of an organization. Here we're looking at indicators, again, addressing the balance scorecard and performance dashboard. So once you've got, you've put in place what you want to measure it in, you need to incorporate your balance scorecard and your performance dashboard, because now these are critical metrics for you to evaluate, to understand how you are faring against those metrics. Same with regular reporting and benchmarking. All of this becomes very relevant for us in our key performance indicators. Let's look at corrective action. So what would the process be for us to implement corrective action? We see that our material provides us with a process, and this is how to identify the root cause and establish what the issues and concerns are in our understanding the gaps. And here we have some tools. We make reference here of the 5 whys and the fishbone diagram to uncover underlying problems. I know in previous conversations I just touched a little bit. I asked if everybody was aware of and have worked with these instruments, and it was confirmed that this was discussed in previous lectures. But I just want to elaborate a little bit. So the fishbone diagram helps you to systematically explore potential causes by organization, by organizing them into categories. Whereas the 5 why technique is a powerful problem-solving approach that helps us identify the root cause of an issue by repeatedly asking why. Is there anybody that needs more information around the techniques? Can I move forward? Okay. So when developing action plans to address key performance indicators, the following needs to be considered. A KPI current performance, the specific goals that we've established, the gaps that we've identified between the desired goal and the actual achievement, and the breaking down those goals into action plans. Into actions, activities. Thereafter, we need to allocate resources and to establish the risks that is associated with these actions. We need to include a timeline, a cost, and a process on how we will be monitoring the progress. So now we're going to move on to some methods on what can be used to improve. There are a couple of tools and methodologies that can assist you in establishing what the cause of the problem is. We see that we can elaborate a little bit on lean management, and this is focused on minimizing waste and maximizing value in processes. We're also going to touch a little bit on the Six Sigma. It's a set of techniques and tools for process improvement, and it's aimed at reducing defects and variability. Then we have total quality management, and that is a management approach, and it's centered on quality based on participants of all members of the organization. And then we have the Kaizen continuous, which is an incremental improvement involving everyone in the organization, very similar to total quality management. So let's touch a little bit on the lean principle. So the lean principle originated from the Toyota production systems, just a bit of interesting insights, and focuses on creating a more value for customer while minimizing the waste. There are 5 core lean principles, and I'm just going to quickly touch on each one of them. So firstly, we need to identify the value, and that is to understand what the customer truly values. Sounds like Toyota. Then we need to map the value stream, and this is we identify all activities that contribute to the customer and to the value that the customer is getting. And then we need to create a flow. After removing waste, ensure that value-adding activities flow smoothly without interruption. Thereafter, we establish the pool, and that is how do we limit inventory and work in process. We seek perfection, and that is to continuously experiment to achieve perfect value for zero waste. Very much sounds like a Toyota concept for me. Then we've got the Six Sigma. This is a quality control methodology that businesses use to reduce defects and improve processes. Just a little bit of interesting insight. This was introduced by engineering Bill Smith while working on Motorola in 1986, and it aims to enhance manufacturing quality by identifying and removing the causes of defects and minimizing variability in both manufacturing and business processes. Six Sigma is a set of techniques and tools that is used to improve business processes and follows a 5-phase approach. Firstly, it defines a team is led by Six Sigma, and an expert selects a process to focus on and define the problem they need to resolve. Then number 2, measure. So the team measures the initial performance of the process, creating a benchmark and identifying inputs that may hinder performance. Thirdly, we need to analyze. The team isolates each input, testing it as a possible root cause of the problem. Then we need to look at improvement, and that is changes are implemented to enhance system performance. And then we look at control. Controls are added to ensure that the process remains effective and doesn't regress. Very simple process. Now let's look at total quality management. So this is a management approach focused on achieving long-term success through customer satisfaction. There are some key elements on total quality management, and I did notice when I was doing a bit of researched that there are a couple of different quality control management processes out there. So the one that is in your current material, I'm just going to run through the elements that's highlighted here. And it's customer focused. So the ultimate measure of quality is determined by the customer. Total quality emphasizes meeting customer needs and expectations. So it's very customer orientated. Total employee involvement. All employees participate in improving processes and working towards common goals. Empowering and fear-free environments are essential. That's an interesting comment that, but as I said earlier on, this is a session that is open and is everyone is allowed to ask and speak freely. It's very important when you have when you work with employees to ensure that they feel that they can contribute at any point of the process in a work environment, and also share, because a lot of good ideas come from staff that's been working in an industry or a sector or an organization for many years, and I see the shortcomings of an organization and can very easily provide good insight in what can be adjusted and what can be made better. Process-centered. So total quality management emphasizes process thinking. Processes are defined and monitored and improved to reduce variation and enhance quality. So the whole process needs to focus on how simple and how effective the process can be implemented. Then we look at integrating systems. So total quality management looks beyond functional departments and focuses on interconnected processes. Business's performance is continuously monitored and fosters a culture of quality, teamwork, and proactive problem solving. So as we spoke earlier on in how do we address and develop and create tools to monitor and to review our KPIs, it's very important to ensure that we can take all of the information, like the scorecard and the data that we get from internal systems, and all of that information needs to connect to each other so that we can make sense of what it actually tells us. Then we look at strategic and systematic approach, and that is to integrate quality into an organization's strategic planning or management. We're taking all of this information that we were able to gather, that we were able to align, and we are integrating the content or the insights into developing a strategic planning and management process. So by doing that, it ensures that quality is a core component of achieving the organization's vision, mission, and goal, all focused on how we deliver on a quality product. Then we have fact-based decision-making, and that relies on the data-driven decisions. As I mentioned earlier on, data is the quality of data is important, as we will be making a lot of decisions based on the data that's available to us. So organizations will continuously collect and analyze data to improve decision-making accuracy, achieve consensus, and predict outcomes based on historical data. Coming from a sales environment, we made use of data to understand and predict what our targets would be for the coming year. So based all of our strategies and opportunities that we aligned with our organizational's growth was based on how we project we will do in the upcoming year. So you can understand how important it is to ensure that your information that you use as your base is correct and is quality information. Then ultimately, total quality management involves engaging employees at all levels with effective communication that fosters a sense of ownership and empowerment. If we do not communicate effectively to our internal clients, to our external clients, we won't get buy-in from our clients and we won't get support in implementing processes like these. It's very important that communication is effective. In other words, it also needs to be designed specific for the audiences that it is required to impact. If you are designing information that you are sharing with your staff versus your clients, it will not look the same. You will need to ensure that your audience and the information and the communication process aligns to what your audience will access easiest. Total quality management emphasizes continuous improvement, customer satisfaction, and involvement of all employees. Effective communication plays a crucial role in total quality management. I think we've covered all of that. So why do we want to continuously improve? Continuously improving our KPIs are beneficial to the organization. It allows for sustained performance enhancement. It increases adaptability, long-term success for the organization, enhances customer satisfaction levels, and improve employee engagement. It's very important for an organization to be agile so that there can be continuous development. An organization needs to be able to adapt easily, to adjust easily to what the sector requires, to what the customers require, and also to what product development requires. If an organization is not agile enough and they are not able to adapt quickly, those organizations will not be sustained. Any questions on the module 4.2 content that we've just covered? We're happy to move forward. Thank you. So now we're going to talk a little bit on performance management. And I love this quote: what gets measured gets managed. If you know what you're measuring, you're able to manage it. And this is a quote from Peter Drucker, and so important and so valuable to understand that concept. Let's look at module 4.3. So in module 4.3, we'll be reviewing the importance of stock management, developing stock policies, and the elements that impact stock. This module also covers key metrics for assessing stock, best practices, and strategies required for effective logistics management, and why it's important to understand the supply chain. Stock policies and logistics services for small, medium enterprises. What we need to know is that small, medium enterprises that prioritize stock policies and logistics gain a competitive edge, sustain growth, and enhance customer relationships. Very, very important for a small, medium enterprise to ensure that they have the correct stock policies and logistical services in place, as small enterprises do not have the financial backup that a big organization would have to manage risk. So let's look at stock policies and logistics services. Why is stock policies and logistics services crucial for a small to medium enterprise? Operational efficiencies need to be streamlined to streamline processes. Oops, I'm sorry. Did I just move out of the slide? Apologies. Also just checking, everybody can still see the slides. We're all good. So we were speaking about operational efficiencies. We need to have to be efficient in our operations as it streamlines processes. Effective stock policies ensure efficient inventory management, reduces waste, and optimize resource allocation. Cost reduction, so well-managed logistics lead to cost savings, better utilization of storage space, and minimized transportation expenses, which I think is one of the most costly exercises in managing stock. Productivity boosts, efficient logistic processes enhance overall productivity within the organization. Quality improvement, proper stock policies contribute to better product and service quality. And then customer satisfaction. When a customer receives their delivery timelessly, they are happy. When they feel that your delivery is timeous and meets all their needs, it's reliable, you'll get repeat business. Satisfied customers are customers that are likely to return and will end up to be long-term loyal customers. Then we're looking at risk mitigation, and there we've got to be very focused on the resilience that we have in our supply chain. Effective logistics minimize disruptions such as delays or stock shortages. When there's delays, it impacts our customer service. When there's stock shortages, it impacts our customer service. It also impacts our end result in sales. Cost control, proper stock policies prevent excess inventory costs and associated risks. And here we mention again increased business agility, very important for especially in a small medium enterprise to be agile and to be able to adjust to what the needs are in the sector as well as the client's needs. So stock policies refer to the guidelines and rules that govern the management of inventory within an organization. These policies help determine how stock is acquired, stored, tracked, and utilized. Effective stock policies ensures optimal inventory levels, cost control, and efficient operations. They cover aspects such as safety. Is there a question? Not a question. Okay. Effective stock policies ensure optimal inventory levels, cost control, and efficient operations. They cover aspects such as safety, stock reorder points, lead time management, and stock obsolescence. By adhering to well-defined stock policies, businesses can maintain a balance between meeting a customer's demand and minimizing holding cost. Remember, effective stock policies contribute to both the safety and profitability of an organization. Do we have anybody in the team or in the room that work with stock, that frequently deal with stock? Do we have small to medium enterprises in the room? Okay. How would we assess our stock policies? So additional assessment criteria relates to stock management. This creation focuses on identifying items that are no longer useful or sellable. If you have stock and they've been in your shelf for the last year, that means that the cost of that stock looks different to the new stock that you've brought into your warehouse. And you need to recognize when stock needs to be moved out of your warehouse. And there are strategies to implement that migration from the warehouse, and that could be selling them at a more cost-effective price, or a lot of organizations actually dump stock in other sectors, like different chains of stores and so forth. So stock out frequency, that is a very challenging, and as that is by measuring how often items are out of stock. And that is crucial because if you don't have stock, your clients will not be happy. So frequent stockouts will impact your sales and customer satisfaction levels negatively. And effective stock policies aim to reduce stockouts and maintain optimal inventory levels. And we'll see now that there is a couple of ways for us to manage our stock. So let's break down the design elements for effective stock policies. Firstly, we're looking at safety of stock levels, and safety stock acts as a buffer to prevent stockouts due to unexpected fluctuation in demand or supply delays. It's the extra inventory you hold behind your regular stock. And its calculated safety stock involves considering factors like lead time, variability, and desired service levels. What can affect our stock levels? Let's just think around simple things like raw material that all of a sudden is not available and can impact the final product. Let's think about a simple thing like a strike that can impact your delivery of your stock on a timeliest manner. So there's a lot of things that we need to consider when we keep stock, and to make sure that our inventory levels, that we have strategies in place that will mitigate the risk of us running out of stock. Let's look at reorder quantities. So reorder quantities determine how much inventory you order when your stock reaches a certain level. So if you know when your stock levels reach 50%, you need to put in an order. Otherwise, by the end of July, you will not have stock, and that will have detrimental impact on your organization. So the economic order quantity model helps to optimize this by balancing ordering costs and holding costs. We need to consider factors like demand rate, ordering costs, and carrying costs. It is costly to purchase products and yes. Is there a question? Not a question. Okay. Guys, I think someone is not muted. Please, can you check that you're muted? Let's look at lead time management. I think someone is not muted. Guys, please just quickly check that all of you are muted, because we're recording the session.
Okay, it's sorted. I'm muted.
Thank you, Carl. Let's look at lead time management. So managing lead time is crucial. It's the time between placing an order and receiving the stock. So efficient lead time management ensures timely replenishments, and strategies to include is negotiating shorter lead times with suppliers, using expedited shipping, and having backup supplies. Let's delve into the design elements for effective stock policies. So we see here we have 3 that is mentioned. So just in time is inventory. It minimizes inventory levels by ordering stock just in time for product or sale. So if you are having, I'm just going to use an example. If you are Edgar's and you are having a sale, you'll make sure that whatever is on your promotional material is delivered on time to make sure that you don't have stock that sit in a warehouse and is not going to be moving forward. That is a costly exercise. Transporting that cost there is costly, and hosting or managing warehouse costs becomes very expensive when you sit with stock that are in a warehouse over a long period of time. Economic order quantity. This is the formula used to determine the optimal order quantity that minimizes total inventory costs. And then vendor management in inventory. very interesting. So here your supplier will manage the inventory levels of their products and the customer's location and ensure that that inventory is available to you when you require it. This means that your vendor in reality is taking a higher risk than what you will be taking. Let's look at logistics services for small to medium enterprises. So small to medium enterprises operate differently from larger companies due to financial constraints and limited physical presence. Logistics plays a crucial role in maintaining service levels, secure supply chains. The goal is to maintain high service levels in good provision and service and supply chain reliability. Therefore, important to consider product sourcing, the supplier selection, and the balanced cost reduction with overall effectiveness. Now let's touch a little bit on logistics services for small to medium enterprises. We see that there are some key components when we look at logistics services. Transportation management, warehouse solutions, distribution strategies, order fulfillment, and inventory control. Who can tell me, in your view, what do you think is the most critical component in the logistic process for a small to medium enterprise?
I think it would be inventory control. Sorry.
Thank you. Why do you think that? What's your view? Why do you think it's inventory control? Why do you think that's the most important?
If you don't know your stock levels and you don't know if you're going to run out and you don't have any control over your stock, then you are setting yourself up to fail because then you don't have control over your stock.
Thank you. And that is very, very true. You need to know what happens in your inventory. Otherwise, you won't be able to plan and deliver on your strategic deliveries. Is there another comment?
Yes.
Yes, please go
Yes.
ahead.
Inventory plays a vital role in
Financial
business
management.
trading.
You also agree with inventory?
Yes, but also you can also add financial management because some people have challenges with budgeting and managing the cash flow.
Okay. Under inventory control.
No, under financial management on its own.
Oh, under financial management. Okay. Thank you for that, sir. Anybody else that wants to contribute? Wants to share your insight?
Transportation.
Yes. Why do you think transportation management is crucial?
It is crucial because if a client orders some goods, they need to get them on time. So if you can manage your transportation, and then goods won't move from one level to another.
Absolutely. Anybody that thinks warehouse solutions can has a significant impact? So let's just touch. Yes.
Yes, I also think inventory control is critical because it forms part of the current asset of the organization and to whether the organization will move. If, for example, that organization is in a trading business, determination of whether it will move forward or not is how it manages its inventory from the suppliers and from the to the organization to its customers, whether it is done on time, so on and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. So we can basically see that all of these components carries a lot of weight in the logistics services, especially for small to medium enterprises. Each and every one of these components is important components and need to be managed effectively. So looking at transportation management, This involves efficiency, planning, and executing the movement of goods from one location to another. It encompasses selecting carriers, optimizing routes, and ensuring timely delivery. What can impact transportation management? I'm just going to make a couple of general remarks. Impact here for us could be, we know that the cost for transportation management is very high, but fluctuation in petrol and diesel prices in the economy can impact this. Strikes can impact it. Political adjustments to organizations and sectors can impact that. Then also looking at warehouse solutions. Warehouses focuses on storing goods effectively, maximizing space utilization and facilitating easy access are essential. Efficient warehousing ensures smooth inventory flow. What we also need to understand when we have a warehouse is if we are transporting, it's costing us to transport all our products, say 60% of our products are transported from KZN to Gauteng, it will make sense for us to have a warehouse in Gauteng because this will most definitely impact cost for transportation, but it will also make the accessibility to our retailers easier and with lesser delays if we have a solution of having a warehouse in the Gauteng province. Let's look at distribution strategies. These are methods used to deliver products to customers. So effective strategies balances cost, speed, and reliability. Examples include direct shipping, third-party logistics, and cross-docking. So distribution strategies are the methods that we use to deliver our products to customers in a timely and cost-effective manner. So depending on the client and depending on the sector, your distribution strategy will impact significantly your time on time delays and your cost. And therefore, for me is one of the most important things to consider when you have a small to medium enterprise, because when you need to make sure that you deliver timelessly, provide the correct product to the correct client, and meet everybody's needs in the chain, your distribution strategies are very important. Let's move on and look at order fulfillment. So this is the complete process from receiving an order to delivering it to the customer. It includes order processing, picking, packing, and shipping. Timely and accurate fulfillment enhances customer satisfaction. We know if we are able to fulfill our orders on time, it will cost us less. It makes sure that we keep our clients happy. It makes sure that we have competitive advantage. And therefore ensuring that we have the correct strategies to make sure that we fulfill our order timelessly is very important. Inventory control. Let's look at inventory control. That is maintaining optimal stock levels. So this is crucial. It's balancing supply and demand without overstocking or stock outs, ensure efficient operations and cost control. So here we can see that all of these components play a crucial role in the logistics services of the small to medium enterprise. Who has heard of the bullwhip effect? Anybody want to share? Anybody in the room have heard of the bullwhip effect? So the bullwhip effect is a supply chain phenomena where changes in demand become increasingly pronounced as they move from the retail level to the wholesaler and manufacturer. So when a retailer incorrectly forecasts demand or misunderstands consumer behavior, the order changes are magnified as they move up to the supply chain. Wholesalers again and manufacturers adjust the production that they deliver on based on these amplified orders, and this leads to discrepancy between inventory produced and actual demand. What mitigation strategies can be put in place to manage the bullwhip effect? We need to have improved communication. We need to make sure that our demand is accurate and that we understand the demand's fluctuation. And inventory management techniques are in place to mitigate this bullwhip effect. So we've touched a little bit on what causes the bullwhip effect, but here we can see when there is a minor adjustment from the consumer perspective, it impacts the retailer, it impacts the wholesaler much more, going up to manufacturer and ultimately to the supplier. So we can see how a small demand can impact the forecast of manufacturing. And ultimately, if this is not managed well or communication is not managed well during this process, it can lead to inaccurate information. Okay, let's talk about integrating and optimization. So these two critical aspects of supply chain management. So coordinating supply chain activities, this involves aligning various components of the supply chain to work seamlessly together. It includes coordinating production, transportation, warehousing, and distribution. So what we're saying there is we need to integrate all of these elements to ensure that we have a seamlessly easy process that works together. So utilizing technology solutions, and this is by implementing technology solutions like enterprise resource planning, is crucial. Enterprise resource planning integrates the facets of an operation, including inventory management, order processing, financials that we highlighted earlier on, and logistics. It streamlines processes, provides real-time data, and enhances decision-making. Then we're also looking at route optimization. Route optimization is the practice of finding the most cost-effective route between two or more stops on a map. It involves planning routes based on distance, time, cost, and executing them in real time. When I spoke earlier on about having an additional warehouse in an area where you know you have a lot of engagement with clients and a lot of required deliveries, this will also impact your route optimization. If you have a planned route to transport that reduces cost and delivery, it will impact you if you have additional areas to deliver from. So it's very important that that planning on delivery, on transportation, to reduce the costs is well implemented. Then we're looking at load planning. Load planning is just similar to what it's saying. It involves optimizing the available space within a container or a vehicle as efficiently as possible. If you know you've got a transportation vehicle going out to a specific area and you only need to deliver 2 boxes, but next week you'll be delivering 4 boxes, you already have the stock. It just makes sense to plan effectively and ensure that you get your stock out in time, and it costs you less. So load planning, maximizing the use of transport capacity, will lower not just shipping costs, but land costs and air freight. Then inventory optimization, using advanced analytics to determine the best inventory levels and minimize costs. We touched a little bit about all the strategies that we can implement on inventory optimization. So that is the strategic management of inventory. It balances the supply and demand and reduces inventory holding costs, increases customer satisfaction, and by leveraging demand forecast, advanced inventory techniques, and data-driven insights, again, we're back to good data, businesses ensure operational efficiency and greater profitability. Ultimately, everything we do is to generate profit and to ensure that it doesn't cost us more to meet the end result. Is there any questions on module 4.3 that we've just covered? Okay, if we are all good, I can move on to quickly talking through the workbook. Cole, would you like to, are you still on the call? Okay, I want to open the workbook. You can just share again with everyone. Bongani?
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm well, and you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. I just wanted to find out, how does Woolworths do its logistical operations, as it seems like they are the only organizations that are able to keep stock for a short or limited period, and it's always fresher, as we know. So how do they manage that, if you could answer that for me?
I don't have much insight on Woolworths on their strategies, but what I can comment on is it makes sense that Woolworths would have specific warehouses, area warehouses where they keep their stock. That makes it easier for them to deliver on autonomously. So in my area, I have 3 Woolworths. They're very close to me, and in the mornings early when I leave, I see those Woolworths trucks because they are all marked, doing very early drop-offs. So it makes sense to me that they have an area warehouse and that their products are located within the area that they actually supply in. A little bit of insight. I know that, for instance, in Gauteng, Woolworths makes use of a bakery that sit in Rosebank for some of their small bakes. And in Ayrton, they have a supplier that delivers all their pies. So I do think that they secure their product from a specific area suppliers, and also think their warehouses are very closely located because of the number of retailers, or the number of shops that they need to actually deliver to, because they don't just have Woolworths, they also have engine quick shops. So I think their delivery, their routes and so forth, I think they are able to actually do it on very short notice. So my insight there, or my understanding, would be that they would have area warehouses, and that their product will also be sourced from specifically from areas. I don't know if that is helpful.
Okay, no, thanks. I'm covered. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to check. Are you guys all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm not sure. I think Cole might have dropped off from the session. I'm just going to make sure that everybody has access to their workbook. So let me just open the workbook so we can just quickly run through the questions. Everybody's workbook should be on Classroom. I'm just confirming. And then I'm just going to run through the questions. Also very straightforward. Right, so under evaluate contribution to business performance, we have a 10-mark question. Identify performance improvement opportunities of the business objectives. And I want to confirm, and my understanding is that you have a selected organization that you are showcasing in your work. So for me, this will relate to the organization that you've selected. You can also add some examples. I see this is a 10-mark question, so you can also add some examples in here. Then under determine opportunities to improve efficiencies, our question there for activity 2 is discuss how to implement opportunities to improve business effectiveness. 8 marks. And then under session 3, seek and utilize professional advice to supplement competence. Under activity 3A, they're asking identify professional advice in business. Where would you find professional advice from? This could be legal advice. This could be financial advice. I know that this is covered in your guideline, so please have a look at that. But I know that it relates to professional advice. Then it states 3B, outline the basic reason of keeping the record in business. This should be covered in your guidelines, but just if you can just touch on basic reasons, I think financial auditing, compliance in a specific sector, that type of reasoning for keeping records, and also for to utilize. We all utilize historic data when we plan and we develop strategies. So I think all of that is important to consider. Then let's look at specify the objectives of the business. And here, activity 1A's question says, determine the owner manager's personal objectives of your chosen business or client. Determine the owner or the manager's personal objectives of your chosen business client. And that's a 10-mark question. And I'm putting emphasis on the fact that this is for personal objectives. So your personal objectives eventually will align with your organization's objectives. Then question 1B says, describe how objectives can be readily converted into action plans. And I think, personally, I think that when you've highlighted your personal objectives of your chosen business or client, you will then describe how the objectives can be converted into action plans, because it makes sense that those two questions will go together. Then identify the factors affecting performance of the business. And here we've got activity 2. Outline and research the social, technical, economic, environmental, and political factors of the selected business. 6 marks. We can elaborate a little bit on giving some examples, I think. And if you look in your guideline, I think it's page 22, you'll see that there are a couple of tools that can be used to address this. Then let's assess the performance of the business in meeting its objectives. Activity 3, the question asks, discuss the ways to analyze trading status documents such as profit and loss account, balance sheets, cash flow, and profit and loss forecast. This is a 10-mark question. I would add in some examples here, I think, to beef it up. I just want to confirm there isn't a standard template for this, so this is just your analysis. Then identify potential improvement to the business. So we have activity 4, and our question says identify potential improvement to the selected business. So here again, we're going back to the business that you've selected and the potential improvements that you see. 10-mark question. So we need to add a little bit of meat into that question. Then analyze local and Makonza, please can I ask you to mute your speaker?
Okay.
Thank you. Analyze local and international stock and logistic policy trends. So the question here is how to analyze local and international stock and logistic policy trends. So another guideline has got quite a lot of information or insight on the processes, on how we should analyze, and also shares a little bit on international stock and logistic policies. I would do a little bit of research just to add into that piece of work in that question. Then we're looking at question 2A, and this says describe an inventory process that's set out well in your guideline. It asks explain the logistical activities that's involved, also set out in your guideline, and it can also do a little bit of reading on the internet on logistical activities. That will give you some more insight. Then develop stock policies. Activity 3, question description is what is a stock policy? That's just asking a definition. There is a definition in the guide, but you can also use the internet to get some more definitions or elaborate a little bit on that. What are the ways to develop stock holding and movement processes? That's been covered in your guideline as well. But I also would add a little bit of flair to that question and add a little bit of more insight in there from the internet. Develop logistics services. The question under activity 4 is what are procedures for equipping staff to provide effective logistics services? I'm just going to make mention of one here, and that is effective communication. This question is asking, how would you equip your staff to provide effective logistics? And I think it starts with communication, for them having a good understanding of what the processes are. Right, so this is the workbook. Let us open the summative. Let's look at the summative quickly. Can I just ask, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Cherise. Okay, so we're looking at knowledge questions and task 1A. What are the role of managers in business objectives? So the question is asking, what's the impact of a manager when you develop business objectives? 1B, identify skills that are needed to achieve business objectives. What type of skill sets would you think an individual will need to be able to develop a business objective. Task 2, how self-improvement helps to achieve business objectives. And we've touched a little bit on the presentation, but I know that the guideline also gives a nice rounded information on that piece. Task 3, describe the ways in which business areas are advised. Looking at different business areas, how would you receive advice from those business areas, and who would be the correct people? Then looking at the next question, it asks us to outline the key people involved to determine key business of the organization and its objectives. Key people involved to determine key business of the organization and its objectives. 4-mark question. Task 2, outline the strength, weakness, and opportunities and threats of the business. This is your SWOT analysis. The guideline makes reference to a couple of methodologies that you can use to establish this. Then task 3, the question asks, explain how to produce a statement of business performance showing actual performance matched. So you'll be designing the statement of the business, explain the process of how you would do that, and how the actual performance will be matched. That's a 5-mark question. Then we're looking at the next task 4 question, outline the potential improvement and their intended effects of the business. Looking back at your business, I think that you are showcasing here what potential improvements you can have identified and what the effect of that would be on the business. Then describe a range of international trends for designing, planning, and implementing logistic strategies. The guideline makes a reference to trends, US-based trends, and I think they are dated 2018. I would just maybe do a little bit of research just to establish that the trends that we are looking at, what is the latest trends. Then task 2, what is a purchase order? There's a descriptor for this in the guideline. I think you'll also find a formal definition on the websites. Describe the purchase order process. 6 marks. So let's, I think, just add a little bit of examples in the end as well. Then explain the reports generated for inventory. Guys, please look at this question. It's specific to inventory. What reports would you generate just for inventory? Then task 3, describe the organization's stock policy to determine weaknesses and corrective measures. This is your organization that you are referencing. And then question B, outline ways to develop for equipping staff to carry out effective stock management. This a question. If you guys recall the question we had on equipping staff in your workbook, I think it's very similar questions. And I think I mentioned communication as one of the elements that's important. Then task 4, describe the logistical organization. Describe how to monitor and evaluate against logistical objectives. We spoke about the evaluation tools, and outline the improvements to the policy and procedures. This relates to your organization that you have selected. This question. Okay, now we've got section B, which asks for a workplace project, and that is create a self-development plan, personal development plan for improvement on skills and knowledge of business advisory. Please attach the plan. There isn't a standard template. I think you can just have a look on the internet to see what is available, but it's a straightforward development plan. And this is specifically, it is for your personal development. Then develop a short organizational action plan for improvement. Please attach both the plans when you submit. Workplace project 2, the assignment is to do analysis of the factors affecting performance of selected business and attach the outcome. Do an analysis of the factors affecting performance of selected business. And I think looking at this, you'll look at what happens in economy, political, what can affect the performance of your selected business. Do an assessment of the business performance against its planned objectives. Provide the outcome of your assessment and your view if the company is meeting or not meeting the objectives. And then provide potential improvements to the selected business. So basically, you are going to have a look at what affects the performance of the selected business. You're going to assess the business performance against the planned objectives. You're going to provide the outcome of your assessment, and then you're going to provide improvements to the selected business. Please also attach the 3 individual statements. And then workplace project 3 says find local and international stock and logistic policy trends and analyze the trends and provide your own assessment. Attach the article or the information of your own analysis. Please ensure that whatever you work from, you attach so that they can refer it. It references your feedback. Developing stock policies and logistics service policy for your selected business, and please apply the policy. So basically, you're going to write a little policy for your logistics services for the organization that you selected. And I think, please make sure that you complete section C before you submit. Is there any other questions? Bongani?
No, I have no questions. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, it must be an old hand I'm looking at there. Are we happy? Are there any other questions? Can I just check that everybody received the register link, and have you registered?
Yes, I have.
Okay, wonderful. Then from my end, if there's no further questions, I'm going to close the session. Thank you so much for the time you spent in the session and for your contributions. It's been very valuable. You've been a great team to interact with, and I really enjoyed this morning session with you guys. Thank you so much. Please, thank you, Tsepo. If there's any questions, please reach out to your coordinator and to call for further assistance.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful Saturday and weekend further. Enjoy the rugby.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.